Provoke turns 5 and we decided to celebrate our 4th anniversary with a special cover. This cover had to celebrate the amazing past of the magazine and the bright future that awaits us. Our cover had to be someone who represented both, and needless to say, Gautami Tadimalla was the best choice. We get chatty with Gautami discussing the 4 elementals: earth, fire, air and water, and discover what they personally mean to her. Earth. Grounded, stable and secure. Let's find out what Earth means to Gautami.
One very simple question. Without this Earth, where are we? So for me, love for the environment, if that's something that's not very, high up on the list of priorities for any person, I'm going to ask them, if not here, where else would you live? So even out of don't forget about social responsibility, forget about love for mankind, forget about responsibility to the coming generations. Okay, you don't care anything about any of that, okay, let it go, fine, that's your prerogative. But think about yourself. So if you're going to be so self-centered in your thinking to say, I don't care about anybody else, then at least think about yourself. Because you're also existing on the same earth, you're breathing the same air, you're drinking the same water, you're going to be open to the same diseases and the same situations. It's in your very selfish interest to take care of where you live. Like when you're living, in your home here, it's a very famous thing, and I think as Indians, more of us should be increasingly embarrassed and ashamed of this. We tend to collect our garbage, toss it over our compound wall and say, my house is clean. Now, in this world, on this earth, there are no compound walls. So whichever name you give the ocean or whatever latitude, longitude your country is separated by, the air we breathe is the same, the water we drink is the same, the soil that we all stand on is the same. So we don't have the luxury of saying this is my compound and my compound is clean. You don't have that. If you create garbage, if you make your environment toxic, you are making everybody's environment toxic.
Fire, a passion that burns from within. But how does fire truly inspire or influence someone?
I don't really understand what it is to live without passion. And passion does not mean, you fling everything to the four winds and, be outlandish or wear your heart on your sleeve and kick up your heels and all that. It's not about that. I think that probably is a slightly younger, less aware, I don't want to use the word, but probably a not so mature awareness of living life to the fullest. That's also a phase I guess a lot of people have to go through. It is about doing everything that I do with the fullest of conviction that this is what I want to be doing now. There are some things that you have to do whether you like it or not. But you can also choose to do them completely. I have been put in situations where it's really not been of my choosing, or I felt uncomfortable for whatever reason, or out of my depth or anything. But once I've committed to that, I will give it my all. So in many ways, you have to live with passion. What else is there? You can't live your life half-heartedly. You can't be apologetic about anything that you do. Because if you do that with that one moment that you're existing then there is nothing else. So you've made a lie of your time, your breath, your existence. Fire is sustenance to me. Tremendous power. Tremendous power. It can raise life to the ground like probably nothing else can in a fraction of a moment. But to me it's sustenance, because do I have a rage within me? No, I don't rage. I don't hate. To me these emotions seem not very evolved. They seem to me something that you would go through when you're still trying to get a grip on who you are, how you're looking at the world, how you handle interactions. A lot of times that I have seen, and sometimes I've been on the brink of it myself, is when you feel out of your depth with people that you are closely engaged with, personally, professionally, socially, and all of that. And then, you get into a situation where you're unhappy about something, or you feel rejected, or you feel put upon, or something or the other. And one day it dawned on me that in any interaction with any other human being, even if it is your own child who's come from your own body, at the end of the day, you are in an interaction with another human being. And no matter what, nobody can ever take responsibility or control for another person. So if there is discord between two human beings, both of them equally bear responsibility. So for me to get frustrated and angry and, start, disliking or hating somebody like that doesn't make sense. It's the most pointless expression of energy, and I'd rather divert that energy and use it for something that makes me feel good.
Unending, free, and ever present, the most important elemental in the group of four, air.
All pervasive, no barriers, no boundaries. And even the absence of it creates just as much of an impact as its presence. So it's probably one of the most powerful elements that we never even think about. And it represents many things, depending on whether it's still, whether it's light, whether it's heavy, whether it's moving, is it a gale force wind, is it a pleasant breeze. The most impactful form of air is something that I realized at various stages through my life. It's breath. And the thing about breathing, that is the only purpose for which you've been born, is to breathe. Everything else of who you are, what you become in life, what you make of yourself, what dreams you dream, and the journeys and the adventures that you have to pursue these dreams, all those happy little detours you take and you find something wonderful in life. Everything is only because you keep breathing. I found this, definitely after, in a very conscious way, I became aware of that after having cancer. But impact of cancer on my life is a little different than, usually you find. But I would speak to a lot of people after that who would come forward, not just with health issues, but personally they're challenged with so many things. They feel they're defeated, they feel they have nothing left to go on for, they feel they can't go on. So that's when I started talking to them, and I realized as I was saying it out loud that breathing is the very purpose of why a human being is. That baby is born, and a baby is considered to come into existence when it takes its first breath. So that is what air is to me.
As a legend once said, "Be water, my friend, be water, for it has the power to destroy and to create." The elemental that's closest to our life, ever-flowing water.
Consistency. Because no matter whether you drink it, you swim in it, you wash your feet in it, you look at it, you pour your garbage into it, whatever it is constant. It by its very nature in itself, it is probably one of the most consistent things that we have, right? And what really appeals to me about the sense of water is the ability to be changing but ever remain yourself. And I think that is probably, if one is looking to package something like a mantra to a happy life or a contented life, I would say that's one of the most important things. To know that this is who I am and how I am is fine, and if there are things I would like to change in myself, that's because I want to see how I'll do if I were like that. It's like, how will I look in that dress, or how would those pair of jeans look on me, or what if I did my makeup differently? So you're doing all of these things to just see, to experiment, to try out something else, to see how far, you can push your own boundaries. So as far as when you're looking for change, when you're looking for, different sides of yourself, when it is done with the intent of just joyfully expressing yourself or, like testing your own boundaries, that kind of centering to me is very fluid but the most stable thing on earth. The very fact that water, when you add any moisture to anything, immediately infuses it with life. So even if it is ice and it freezes something in, it preserves it so beautifully. So whichever way, whichever form you take it, it's life. And to me personally, it's always moving water. Always moving water. And I'll never forget this one conversation I had with my mother. And I was at that time reading some of these books on Zen Buddhism and, these kind of things. And I'd come across the idea of, imagine that your mind is like a glass of water, full of water. And now the aim of this particular kind of meditation is to keep it steady. The water should not, it should not spill, it should not waver, it should not ripple. Keep it as calm and steady and peaceful as you can. I said, okay, let me see what my mom would have to say. And I was like really young at the time. So I asked her and I said, what do you think about this? And she said something that till today gives me so much of joy in what I do around me or even within knowing myself. She said, if I were water, I would want to experience my nature to the fullest extent of it. I would want to splash, spill, rumble, tumble, flow, explode, rain, whatever. It is probably part of my nature to be calm and still and steady, but being water is so much more. This, I think, was one of the most liberating things I've ever heard. It stayed with me.